Hey guys, today I would like to talk about authors I like in a text I have read and the video I have seen. The first author I prefer takes part in the Enlightenment movement. Her name is Sowana. The reason is that her works warn the society that how men mistreat women and put them in a state of subjugation, which is in the video Unit 1, Section 6. The context we read, named "You Men," can illustrate her subjugation, can illustrate her subjective idea and her desire to change the current situation that men mistreat women. In the poem "You Men," she does point out that women play the role of being abusing by men. That directly, like silly, you men so very adept at wrongly faulting womankind. Her baroque style states straightforward that women should not be treated in such bad situation, especially in church. Another author that I appreciate called Sophia. She raises an interesting idea that men are made for women rather than women are made for men in her writing, women are not inferior to men, which is very interesting and contradict to the mainstream at that period of time. Women are significant since they have the ability to raise children, which is one of the ideas that Sophia points out. And in her perspective, men only were produced for women's use. Thus, women are superior to men. Men always create wars which relate to death, while women focus on preserving life. Accordingly, she claims that women deserve the highest place in the world since they raise children, leading them to be the foundation of the society. To sum up, Sophia supports that women are much more important than men, and the reason why it is not recognized by men is due to the irrationality of men. Very interesting idea, right? And the last author in the Enlightenment that I consider as important is Jean-Jacques Rousseau. His opinion is important because it could help us understand how most men view women at that period of time. He explains that women should be educated while he believes that women are subordinated to men. Women and men are different by nature is one of his ideas. In his point of view, women should be submissive and always follow men's opinions. The education women receive should be based on the idea of obeying men's rules and under men's controls. He holds the bias that women are not capable of making choices by themselves. A woman should ask her husband or father for help before making decisions. All in all, Jean-Jacques Rousseau deemed that women are subordinated to men. And then we move to the Romanticism. For the Romantic authors, I appreciate William Wordsworth's work because of his illustrative descriptions which help us to understand how the nature affects individuals' feelings. William Wordsworth claimed that human is naturally sad, while the nature helps us beyond that. In his point of view, nature is everywhere. He mentions how people feel when facing the depression that they must overcome in lines composed a few miles above Tintern Abbey. In the poem, he says that on a while secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusions and connect the landscape with the quiet of sky. He uses the nature here, particularly the abbey, as a place to symbolize solitude, thoughts, and depths that he could hardly find in a city. He talks about where he sits is a measurement of time, so he could feel more introspective in nature. For Alphonse de Lamartine, He used a lake to illustrate a romantic feeling of missing his lover who died of illness, which enables readers to sink into the environment he creates and feel the atmosphere he creates. Is better for us to understand how romantic poets write their work. In the second stanza of The Lake, he says, "Oh lake, only a year has now gone by, and to these dear waves she would have seen again. Look, I'm returning along to rest on the very rock where you last saw her rest." Now he is with the lake. He was with her before, and lake observed it. Now the only thing that connects him to her is the memory of her, which is eternalized and brought back through the lake. The lake is like the connection between the past and the present. For the symbolism, there are some symbolist authors that I recommend as well. Take Charles Baudelaire as an example. I like him because his poems not only contain the idea of symbolism, but also the idea of realism. In the last stanza of Spling LXXIX, he says that, "And by the desert and the mist and sun, an ancient sphinx ignored by everyone, left off the map, whose bitter irony is to sing as the sun sets in that dry sea. The sun sets, but the sea is dry." There are so many memories here, which relates to the idea of nostalgia. It is symbolic, but it connects to realistic things. It's very specific to the things he notices here. Different things he brings up here are realistic. So he uses realistic descriptions to depict symbolic things. Another symbolist author that I'm fond of is Paul Verlaine. He applies a special way in his poems named phonosymbology, referring to create a symbol of sounds, which produces sadness in his writings. So for vowels like O and U, these two vowels are used to state sad feelings. Take the first stanza of Autumn Song as an example. With long sobs, the violin throbs of autumn moon, my heart with languorous and monotonous sound. Words like wound, sobs, and languorous not only keep their original meanings, but the vowel inside express the idea of sadness simultaneously. And as a result, these are all the authors that I appreciate in videos and texts. Thank you for listening.